If I'm Donald Trump, I am not sure there could be a more politically damaging response than this one.
You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5. That's peanuts compared to energy. Energy is 60% of the cost.
But sir, you campaigned on a promise to bring prices down on day
Well, I don't know. When
one.
You say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down. Gasoline is thousands of times more important than a stroller someplace.
But what do you say to Americans who say they voted for you because they want and they need relief right now?
And they're getting it.
Right now? What about those
even mortgage rates?
different items I just
Mortgage
mentioned?
rates are going down despite the fact that we have a stubborn Fed.
But you said even dolls could cost a couple bucks more.
Maybe they might, but you don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4 and save a lot of money. We don't need to feed the beast.
Now look, I'm no politician, but if you're the guy who swept into office amid promises of lowering costs on day one, perhaps the message you want to avoid right now is that we need to impose austerity measures. In fact, the only thing worse than the let's lower costs guy saying that your kids won't have dolls for Christmas is the fact that he is a literal billionaire telling the working class that they might have to limit their consumption. And clearly, those are optics that Trump would want to avoid, right? I mean, the last thing that this guy would want to do is highlight the gross inequality between people like him and those lowly plebes on the outside.
We are going to make and build a ballroom, which they've wanted for probably 100 years at the White House. And it'll be a world-class, beautiful ballroom.
A ballroom that could cost millions of dollars. He says he will pay for it himself.
You will fund it.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask the government for money. I'll fund it, and I'm sure we'll have some donations to it. But it's not an inexpensive thing.
Well, maybe our kids can't afford dolls and pencils, but at least dear leader will have a ballroom. Phew. I got worried for a moment that our tax dollars wouldn't go toward making Donald Trump's life marginally more glamorous. In fact, why stop there? Hell, let's see how much more money he could spend on himself while telling the rest of us that the Christmas tree is going to be empty this year.
The president also told me that next month he's planning a military parade celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army that also falls on his 79th birthday.
We're going to have a big, beautiful parade.
A military parade?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're going to celebrate our military. We have the greatest military in the world.
What's the price tag? Do you know?
Peanuts compared to the value of doing it. We have the greatest missiles in the world. We have the greatest submarines in the world. We have the greatest army tanks in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. And we're going to celebrate it.
Yes. Peanuts compared to the value of doing it. To which I would ask, what might that value be? I mean, honestly, what possible benefit did the United States derive from allowing Donald Trump to publicly fillet himself by hosting a multi-million-dollar military parade on his birthday? Hey, perhaps Elon Musk could take a look at this when he finishes up handing his own companies million-dollar government contracts under the guise of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, my God, guys, do you not see what these people are doing? They come into office pretending, literally playing make-believe, that they're rooting out all of this wasteful spending at the hands of the evil communist Marxist Democrats. Trillions of dollars of savings, they promise, before ultimately landing on $63 billion in savings. All the while, somehow, Elon Musk's own companies benefit from all of these new government contracts and the elimination of the regulators who oversee his own businesses. Trump, too, promises that he's he's going to return fiscal responsibility to the government, something that's parroted by all these Republican lawmakers and senators. Finally, the adults would be back in charge. And yet, now we have to spend tens of millions of dollars to watch tanks roll down Pennsylvania Avenue like this is North Korea because Donald Trump has such small dick energy that he needs to overcompensate in the most obvious way possible. For these people, the government is a slush fund. They use it to enrich themselves while pretending that they're doing something virtuous, like saving you money, when they're not. Your costs will rise, and they will get richer. The only people that benefit here are Trump, Elon, and their wealthy donors. The rest of us get fucked, and Donald Trump expects a thank you. And you want to see just how stupid they think you all are amid all of this?
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now. And I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy because he's done a terrible job. He did a terrible job on everything.
Look, I'm a Democrat. That much is clear. But my earnest message to Trump supporters is this. Don't you see that he's mocking you? Don't you see that he thinks you're stupid? If a Democratic politician told me that he deserves my support because he is responsible for everything good that happens and yet not responsible for everything bad that happens, I would realize in an instant that I was being played for a fool. Donald Trump does not respect you, and he's making it abundantly clear. Do what he won't and have some respect for yourself. In the meantime, just remember that Donald Trump inherited the strongest economy in the world. He inherited a record high stock market. He inherited the lowest unemployment rate in half a century. All he had to do was sit back and do nothing. Go to the golf course every single day. But he decided to wage trade wars, alienate our allies, threaten to invade sovereign countries, thinking that the whole world would fear him, would cower away from him. And now we are barreling headfirst into the first ever voluntary recession. While the rest of the world is seeing economic growth, the U.S. saw an economic contraction. Donald Trump promised to lower costs, and yet costs are surging. And this is only the beginning. We're going to see empty shelves. We're going to see unaffordable goods. We're going to see food shortages, all while Donald Trump congratulates himself with military parades and galas at the White House. He pretended he was a working class champion, and instead we got Marie Antoinette. This isn't the fault of Joe Biden or Canada or Mexico or China or Denmark. The responsibility lies with one human being on this planet, and that person is Donald Trump.